Most people think they're secure online. They genuinely believe that. And I don't mean careless people. I'm not talking about your grandmother who uses password 123 for her banking apps. I mean smart people. I mean the people watching this video. People who work in tech, developers, engineers, designers, people who use strong passwords. The ones who add symbols, numbers, uppercase letters, and follow the little green strength bar until it tells them they are a security pro. If you ask these people, they'd say, I'm fine, I'm careful. I don't click on suspicious links and I change my passwords every year. But here's the uncomfortable truth that keeps security researchers up at night. Most compromises don't happen because someone guessed your password. They don't happen because of a brute force attack where a computer tries trillions of combinations against your account. That's the old world. In the modern world, you don't get hacked because your password was weak. You get hacked because your password already exists in database owned by criminal organizations all over the world. It's not an insult to your intelligence, it's a design problem. Hey everyone, welcome back to the South Era Networks. This is Tech Talks with Hasnan. The internet in its infancy was never built to handle the weight of our entire lives. It wasn't built for your medical records, your life savings, and your private conversations. We were told to make strong passwords, but we were never given a realistic way to manage them at scale. The human brain is a magnificent machine, but it is fundamentally incompatible with the requirements of modern digital security. We were wired for survival, for social connection, and for pattern recognition. We are not wired to store 150 unique 16 characters strings of random gibberish to get access to every single account that we own. That single gap, the space between what a server requires and what a human brain can actually do, is where the entire multi-billion-dollar cybercrime industry lives. Let's pull back the curtain on what actually happens when a site gets hacked. Forget the movies. There is no guy in a hoodie typing frantically on a keyboard with a progress bar that's going all the way to 99% with green text flying all over the screen like you are in a Matrix movie. In reality, a breach is usually a quiet administrative process. A developer at a mid-sized clothing brand leaves an Amazon S3 bucket misconfigured. Or a customer service rep at a hotel chain clicks on a PDF that looks like an invoice, but it's actually a remote access Trojan. Once that door is open, the attackers don't go for the money immediately. They go for the data, because that's where the real money is. They export the entire user table with millions of rows of data. Now, most good sites don't store your passwords in plain text. They hash it or encrypt it, which basically means they run your password through an algorithm like bcrypt or SHA-256, which basically turns your password I love cats 123 into nonsense that looks something similar to this. In theory, you can turn a hash back into a password, but hackers have rainbow tables. They have massive databases of every common password and its corresponding hash. If you use a password that someone else has ever used before, they don't need to crack your account. They just need to look it up in their digital phone book and log in. Here is exactly where the smart person fails. Maybe you didn't use a common password. Maybe you used something unique to that one website. But then 5 years later, that site gets breached and you have completely forgotten the site even existed. However, the hackers haven't. They take that leaked database and they don't just sit on it. They move it into the log ecosystem. This is a massive tiered economy, which includes the breacher, they're the one who steal your data. The brokers, they're the ones who clean your data, sorting it by country, by bank, or by premium status. And number 3, the checkers. They are the ones who run automation scripts so they can finally validate that data. This entire process is called credential stuffing. It is the industrialization of identity theft. They take those millions of emails and passwords from the clothing brand breach and they stuff them into the login pages of Gmail, Netflix, Binance, Chase Bank, every valuable app that exists. And they do this at a scale of millions of attempts per hour using proxy networks so they can hide their tracks. Now, if that breach contains your leaked password and you have used that same password on any other account that you own, you didn't technically get hacked. You just got logged in. This is technically not bypassing system security because the system did exactly what it was supposed to do which is to let the person with the right key inside. Now let's introduce a new element that most people don't talk about. You have that unique password for every single site that you have an account on. That may make you think that you are untouchable. Enter the world of the info stealer. This is a specific type of malware, names like Redline, Vidar, or Raccoon Stealer. I mean, this is the kind of virus that you don't get by being stupid. You get this by downloading a cracked version of a Photoshop, or by downloading a mod, or even installing a Chrome extension that on paper looked legitimate. An info stealer doesn't wait for a database breach. It lives on your computer. And it doesn't just look for your passwords, it looks for your session cookies. Have you ever noticed how you don't have to log into YouTube every time you open your browser? That's because of a session cookie. It's a small file that tells the server this person proved who they already are. And so that service doesn't ask for your authorization again and again. An info stealer malware grabs that session cookie, zips them up into folders called log. This log contains your saved passwords from Chrome, your credit card autofill data, your browser history, and most importantly, your active session cookies. The hackers then sell these logs on Telegram channels or dark web markets like, I won't name it, but let's just say dark web markets. Over there, a buyer can purchase your log for as low as $15. The worst part about this data breach is that they don't even need your password anymore. They simply import your cookie sessions in their browsers, and when they open any platform like Google, your bank, or YouTube, or anything, they essentially are you. I mean, they are already logged in the eyes of the platform. There is no password required, no authentication required, no security question asked at all. This is the silent failure of modern security. You could have the most complex 50-character password in the human history, but an info stealer grabs your session cookie. That password is nothing. Now, we must ask, why is this still working? Why, after 20 years of security awareness training, we are still in this mess? Well, that's because the strong password advice was a total lie. It was a technical solution to a human problem. Let's just think about how you create a password. You probably have one base password and you just keep updating it. It could be the name of your favorite person, or your pet's name, or even your date of anniversary. To be honest, guilty as charged. I mean, I have done that a couple of times, except for the anniversary one, because I keep on forgetting that. My wife's not super happy about it. It's a separate topic. Let's just go back to the video. So you use a base password, but when the website tells you that it's not strong enough, or maybe when you need to change your password, well, I tell you what I do. I don't pick a new one. I simply use that base password and add in a modifier. Could be exclamation mark, could be a few numbers. Maybe I would capitalize a few words, but essentially that password stays the same. And hackers play on this one single weakness of human mindset. They use a technique called mask attacks. They know our patterns. They know if a password requires a capital letter, 90% of people put that at the very beginning. If it requires a symbol, 80% of the people at least put it right at the very end. And so they don't have to guess your password, they just have to guess your logic. We are addicted to the patterns we use. For example, the password of your home Wi-Fi could be home 2026 exclamation mark. And then for your office, the password could be work 2026 exclamation mark. We think we are being super clever by creating this system, but a system is just another word for an algorithm, and computers are much better at running these algorithms than you are. This is why complexity is a trap. Complexity without uniqueness is completely fake. A 20-character password that follows a predictable pattern is weaker than an 8-character password that is truly random. That is where we as humans hit our limit. You see, we cannot be random. This is where we talk about the only real solution to the scale problem, a passwords manager. Now, I hear this all the time that I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket, but here's the reality check. Your eggs are already in one basket. That basket is your human brain, and it's a basket with a giant hole at the bottom of it. You are already using passwords, you are already using patterns, you are already vulnerable. So a passwords manager like Bitwarden, 1Password, or KeepPass does something that you cannot do at all. It creates entropy. When you click generate password, the software uses source of true randomness to create strings like this. There's no story to it, there's no pet's name, there's no 2026 exclamation mark. This password is a literal digital brick. The passwords manager then takes that brick and put it in an encrypted vault, which essentially makes it a double brick. Now, this double brick vault is only accessible using your master password. It is that one password that you need to keep secure for you to be able to access all your other passwords. Without this master password, your digital vault is completely useless. And I understand that it comes with its own fears. What if the company or the password manager that I'm using gets hacked and there's a data breach that leaks my master password? Well, unfortunately, we saw it happen with a company called LastPass. It was a total disaster. But even in the worst case scenario where the company servers are breached, the hackers do not get your passwords. They get your vault, and that vault is encrypted or hidden behind your master password. Now, because of the way how your master password is secured in their databases, a hacker can't just try a billion combinations to guess that. I mean, their computer would have to do massive amount of work for every single guess that they would have to make. For example, if your master password is a 4-word passphrase like correct horse battery staple, it would take billions of dollars in electricity and hardware for a hacker to crack one single vault, which is really good because now you're moving from a state of active vulnerability using weak passwords or reused passwords that are already leaked to a state of defensive depth, guarding one high-value secret with the best encryption math available to mankind. Now, we have addressed the password leak situation, but what about the info stealer? On paper, even with the password manager, an info stealer can still steal your cookie sessions. And then we have the phishing problem as well, where you can click on a link which takes you to a fake website that looks exactly like Amazon or Facebook or YouTube, and the minute you enter your credentials, boom, your info is leaked. This is where multi-factor authentication, MFA, is the most important in your life. Imagine MFA as being a second step or a second hurdle to cross before getting to your accounts. If an attacker steals your password through a leak or a keylogger or anything, they hit a second hurdle now that they need to cross. Attackers are like water. They take the path which has least amount of resistance. I mean, in a weird and unethical way, they are also running a business. They have a customer acquisition cost. If that takes them 5 minutes to hack a normal account, but 5 hours to hack yours, then they technically won't do it. They would move on to the next person who is an easy target rather than wasting their resources on you. I mean, it's like the situation where you don't have to run faster than the bear, you just have to run faster than the guy running next to you. Off topic, but I always wondered, what if it's just me and the bear? What if there's no next guy? Anyways, 2 AM thoughts. Let's move on to the video. We need to stop thinking about security as a status that you can achieve. You are never secure with a capital S. Security is a process. The goal isn't to be unhackable. Honestly, in this digital world, everything is hackable given enough time, money, and motivation. The right goal here should be to fail safely. If you reuse passwords, your failure is catastrophic. One leaked password and your bank account is completely drained. This is a very fragile system. If you used a password manager and MFA, your failure is contained. In this case, even if a site gets breached, then only that one random 30-character password gets leaked. Since this password was unique and random, it's completely useless everywhere else. Even if your passwords were phished out of you, the MFA method stops the login right there and then. This is a mindset shift from paranoia to realism. Realism says that I will probably be a part of a data breach this year, or that I might accidentally click on a bad link someday, so I need a system that survives my own humanity. So stop trying to be a perfect human being and start using tools that were built for this imperfect world. When you take precautionary steps, you stop relying on being careful and you start relying on math and predictability. That right there is far more reliable than memory. And that is how you actually stay safe. That is all for today. I hope you start using the internet more securely and safely, and I certainly hope you don't lose access to this account so you can come back and watch our videos. As always, thank you so much for watching the video, and if you like the content, make sure to press that subscribe button and also press that bell icon so you get notified for our upcoming content. Also, let me know in the comments if you have ever used password as your password. I can tell you that I have. See you in the next one.